Look, the situation is getting really bad, and I guess the peak season that we're just going through at the moment has highlighted the real challenges for the town. The town can get up to 15,000 in the peak season, so that requires a lot of workers and staff to meet the needs of all those visitors, and so they also need housing. So it's really added a lot of pressure, and it really comes to the fore in the peak season.
What can be done about more affordable housing? What have you done already, and what can you do further?
Yeah. Look, it's a really challenging question, and as we all know, it's Apollo Bay isn't the only town or centre that is faced with these problems. It's a statewide, worldwide problem, but I think Apollo Bay's has got more complexity because of the geographical isolation. It's not a town where people can commute to, so that adds a complexity. But what are we doing? Look, council have acknowledged this for years now and declared a housing crisis a good few years ago. There's been a number of smaller strategies that have been tried, things like writing to ratepayers and asking them would they consider taking their houses off the short-term market and putting it in for long-term rental. We've changed some local laws to enable people to put caravans on their properties to enable staff to stay in the peak periods. But on a bigger level, we need to advocate to governments and take opportunities that the governments are now rolling out to put a spotlight on the crisis in Apollo Bay and the challenges that they're facing. So at the moment, we're advocating with the state and federal government. We've had a lot of discussions with Home Victoria to look at the opportunities down there. We've put some money aside to look at a feasibility study on some property that council owns in Apollo Bay to see whether that would be appropriate for housing development. We're working with developers to encourage them to look at affordable and social housing in their developments. So it's a multi-pronged approach, and it's going to take some real effort on all levels of government to really tackle the problem together.
The other issue that is impacting that worker shortage is childcare. Some parents simply can't go to work because they've been unable to secure childcare in Apollo Bay.
Yeah, look, I think the childcare challenge really highlights the broader problem, and there's enough places for 48, but the childcare providers can't attract the staff. When they do attract the staff, they can't get affordable housing. Even if you can attract staff into the town for teachers and healthcare workers, police, they've got children, they need to get into childcare, but if they can't get a childcare place, then they can't go to work. So it's this circular problem, and I think the childcare issue is one of the biggest challenges. The state government rolled out some state-run childcare places late last year, and unfortunately Apollo Bay was not successful in that, but that's the sort of thing that we'll be also looking to advocate for and keep right up there in the spotlight.
You're a relatively new mayor. I imagine that you are going to be very busy trying to tackle at least those two issues, and perhaps childcare. They do seem to go hand in hand, don't they, that affordable housing and the childcare. I think most of our viewers would understand what you're saying about you try and get people to come to the town to fill that worker shortage, but if you haven't got the services to support them, then it's
right. I mean,
impossible.
there's anecdotal stories of people like aged care workers who, loved the town, lived in the town, but their rent increased to a point where they could no longer afford it, so had to move out. But also they had challenges getting the childcare places to enable them to go to work. I know there's teachers that would like to work longer hours or more days, if you like, and they can't do that because there's just not the childcare places. So it has a whole impact on the local community and the fabric of the community, because it's not just peak season, it's year round, and it's a great little community, and these sorts of things are really going to impact if we can't make a difference.
Marg White, Mayor of Colac Otway Council, thank you very much for joining us on Weekend Breakfast.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. And you can read more about that story on the ABC News website. Of course, Apollo Bay not on its own around the country in trying to deal with some of these issues.